A good shepherd will not murmur. A good shepherd will not murmur. When I was teaching the women on murmuring, I told them, I said, murmuring is you conversing with Satan. That's what the Lord defined murmuring to me to be. Murmuring is you conversing with Satan. You having a tete-a-tete with Satan. That's murmuring. For example, those of you who have experienced it before, the period of murmuring, the time you murmured, tell me one thing you said that was useful. It was all about evil, evil, evil. Things that stirred up your adrenaline, things that aroused your ego, things that aroused your pride, things that made you obstinate, things that made you pompous. Murmuring is you conversing with Satan. That's murmuring. So you are a shepherd, you are murmuring. Can you converse with Satan and converse with the Lord? No. Let's look at it. Matthew 25, from 14 to 25. Matthew 25, 14 to 25. But I will only read verses 24 and 25. Then he which had received the 1 talent came and said, Lord, I knew thee that thou art a hard man, reaping where thou had not sown, and gathering where thou had not strawed. Don't you get it? Murmuring. All those things were things he had concluded, things he had discussed with Satan, things he had discussed with his brain. And I was afraid, and I went and hid thy talent in the earth. Lo, there thou hast that which is thine. Murmuring. Murmuring makes you unproductive. Murmuring. Murmuring. Murmuring blindfolds your eyes from what God is doing. Murmuring blindfolds your mind from seeing the path that God is leading you, especially when it is difficult times. Of course, who murmurs on Christmas Day? You only murmur on Christmas Day when there is no food on your table. Is that not? Or when you have chicken, you have goat meat, you have beef, you have turkey, you have all kinds of juice, assorted wine. Do you remember? Oh, this food is too plenty. Eh? What kind of thing is this? Eh? Which kind of life is even this? Nobody will say that. But that your neighbors are preparing very delicious meals and the aroma is traveling around the whole vicinity, except in your house. And is entering through your window from the living room to the bedroom. And your children are asking you, what is sent in here? You get it? Why? Because they can't see what is. Mommy is not cooking anything, but everywhere is just full of aroma. And this aroma is so pleasant. That's when you murmur. Satan will come and tell you, you see what I'm telling you? Don't you get it? Nobody murmurs during enjoyment. Murmuring comes in hard times. And at that time, the devil wants to block your ears. Want to distract you from hearing what God is saying concerning that situation. Why? Because when you hear what your father is saying concerning the situation, you have already overcome, right? And Satan wants to keep you in that situation. So he brings up murmuring. He keeps you in one place. Murmuring offends God. Let's look at it. Murmuring offends God. 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 10. Neither murmur ye, as some of them also murmured, and were destroyed of the destroyer. Murmuring offends God. Murmuring means giving heed to the enemy. Don't you get it? And calling God a liar. Murmuring is you agreeing with Satan that God is a liar, that what God said he was going to do was a lie, that God cannot do it. That's murmuring. That's why it gets God angry. God hates murmuring. God hates murmuring. Murmuring is a sign of ingratitude to God. Murmuring is a sign of ingratitude to God. When you murmur, you're telling God that you do not appreciate what He's doing. Look at the children of Israel. He brought them out from Egypt with a mighty hand. They saw it. They came before the Red Sea. They saw how He took them across the Red Sea and caused the Red Sea to swallow up their enemies. Just because of ordinary hunger, because of ordinary thirst, they murmured. Don't you get it? Even after He gave them food, because there's no meat, they still murmured. Ordinary meat. They murmured. They grumbled. They complained. And God sent the destroyer, and thousands of them died in one day. That's to tell you how much God hates murmuring. God is not pleased with murmurers. Understand that. And the enemy wants your father to be angry with you. The enemy wants your father to be displeased with you. And that is why it's very easy for the enemy to suggest it. Murmuring. And you accept it. Then you are causing your father to distance himself from you. Murmuring is a tool of the enemy. Murmuring means that God hates you, Satan loves you. Murmuring means that God could have let you have your way. You would have been better if you were doing it your own way. This path that God brought you in is really not working. God is punishing you. What God said is a lie. That's what murmuring does. That's what murmuring proves. Murmuring is the tool of the enemy for destruction. That is why I gave that command. Neither murmur ye, as they murmured and were destroyed of the destroyer. I chose to end this first episode of this series with this point, because murmuring is the one thing that the enemy has used to destroy a lot of shepherds. Murmuring is one tool that the enemy has used to spoil a lot of things. Murmuring is one thing that the church has used to provoke God. You must develop yourself. Do you understand it? Develop yourself in order to stand against the suggestion of the enemy, so that murmuring does not become a command of the enemy to you. We prayed a prayer some time ago that the suggestion of the enemy, the suggestion of Satan, will not turn an instruction to us. When murmuring bedevils a man, it becomes very difficult for him to be able to stand against it. Right? I'm going to pray. Father, make me a good steward. Pray for yourself. Lord, make me a good steward. Make me a good servant. Make me a good servant. Father, make me a good servant. Make me a good servant. Make me a good servant. Help me to serve and serve right. I don't want to be like those whose services have created more problems than they have solved. Lord, make me a good servant. Uphold me in my service. Uphold me in my serving. Uphold me in the calling that you have called me. Lord, uphold me. Uphold me. Uphold me. Uphold me. Uphold me. I have no power of my own. I rely on you. I depend on you. Lord, uphold me. Uphold me. Let your grace be available for me steadily and all the time. On my own, I cannot stand. If you leave me to myself, I will fail you. Lord, uphold me. And even while you are holding me, help me to rely completely on you and wait on you. The process of waiting, help me not to murmur. Help me not to grumble. Help me not to complain. Rather, let this fellowship that I have with you, let it never end. Let this experience that I have with you, let it never end. Uphold me, Lord. Marikambra shara kuriente kelisimbra hakimbro shiza. Thank you, precious Father, for in Jesus' gracious name we have prayed.